Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to the Stevenage interviews here with Danny Newton. But before we get into the interview, I did want to mention the charity game which is going to be taking place for club legend Martin Gittings on the 5th of September. Martin, of course, being a Borough legend and an all-time club record goal scorer as well, who's struggling with a non-curable and non-treatable condition known as MSA, and currently receiving 24-hour home care with 3 benefit events being organised by Neil Treble, including a game on the 5th there at the Lemex with Paul Fairclough taking charge of that one against the Barry Fry's Old Barnet side at 2 p.m. on the 5th of September there, with notable names including Robin Trott, Barry Hales, Effie Soji and Gary Crawshaw all taking part, with the money to be split between Direct Care and also to a one-of-a-kind charity as well. So I did want to mention that, but I'm going to bring Danny in now, and we'll get cracking in terms of actually getting on with the interview. But that was something I did want to mention in regards to that. But yeah, let's get on with it, and let's get into the bulk of why we're here. So good evening, Danny. How's things?
Good evening. Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, obviously at a new club, it's exciting times.
Absolutely, mate. And we'll go, all the way back to 2017 when you signed for Stevenage, and it was Tamworth you signed from, and of course making the step up into league football as well. And how big was that for you to get, given that opportunity to play in, the football league?
Yeah, it's obviously every kid's dream when they're growing up is they want to be a professional footballer. Like I say, I was 26 at the time, and obviously I'd just come off the back of a good season. But you still kind of don't think anyone's going to take the chance just because of my age. But obviously, I'll always be grateful for Stevenage for giving me the opportunity, and hopefully I repaid that in my first year. I worked really hard. To be fair, I did try and do everything in my power to make it work, and feel like I had quite a good season and enjoyed it. I really did enjoy it. Obviously, my next season was frustrating with the injury and stuff, but it's I loved it. I loved being a professional, being able to say that I made it and achieved the dream, kind of thing.
And of course, you already had a contacted play for Stevenage in the past, being Jamie March as well, who you obviously know from Leicestershire area. And did Jamie kind of have any sort of conversations with you in regarding to Stevenage? I know it was Stevenage Borough back then when Jamie was playing, but
I actually hadn't spoke to him when I signed, because it was a bit of a whirlwind kind of thing. It happened so quick. It was just like, Stevenage are interested and they want to sign you, and I literally said, well, let's do it now. Like, get down there and I'll get it done, kind of thing. So didn't really have a chance to speak to anyone, but I remember him saying good things about it because he was my assistant manager a few years ago, and I remember him saying then about his playing days when he used to play for Stevenage, like he loved it and what a great club it was and stuff. So I still remembered from when he said about what a good place it was to be.
And of course, he was part of that Stevenage side that got to the FA Cup against Newcastle as well, and got the replay against them, and was only narrowly beaten at St James's Park against them on the back of drawing at home as well.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's some achievement. Like, one of them games where you can look back on it for the rest of your life and it'll never be forgotten, kind of thing. So yeah, it's that squad did amazing for the club, and I'm sure the fans will remember that forever as well.
Absolutely. It's one of those ones that, as fans, it stays with us for a long time, or forever in terms of that, and the promotion, etc. Winning the FA Trophy at Wembley. There's certainly been some good days for Stevenage as a club, no doubt. And hopefully they can continue again. Obviously, we start off against Barrow on Saturday, so hopefully it can start off with a positive result there. But we'll get into the next question in regarding to your time at Stevenage, and that was. Obviously, kind of relating to that last question about the very first question that I brought up when you signed from Tamworth. And what was it about Stevenage when you went down there to the training ground? You got the phone call. What was it about the club that was sort of the deciding factors, I suppose, and you wanted to come and play down in Hertfordshire?
I think it was just the the interest, like they shown they were the most keen and they were the most interested to get it done, and they showed me basically where I'd fit and what the aspirations were, etc. And Darren Saul had a massive part to play in that. Leon had a massive part to play in that. And once I had a look around the training ground and stuff like that, I basically was sent a video of the training ground. I didn't actually go down, but I was blown away, kind of thing. So yeah, I just straight away I just wanted to get it done and get into football really, because I think I signed might have been on a Friday. And no, I think it was a Thursday I signed, and I spoke to Darren Saul, and I was like, "Oh, when's pre-season start?" Then in maybe 2 weeks, and he was like, "Starts Monday." So I had to drive back to Leicester, go straight into work, and say, "I'm leaving." Didn't give any notice. Just literally left. I was like, I'm gone. I'm going to play football. So all the best, kind of thing. But they were pretty good about it at the time. But I'm sure other companies wouldn't have been that understanding. But yeah, it was a no-brainer really. There was no other option to sign there other than Stevenage.
And of course, you played under Darren Saul as well. He was your gaffer at Stevenage. Of course, you mentioned there who signed you, and what was the conversations like with Darren? If you can remember that far back to the original conversations that you sort of had, yeah.
I think he'd obviously seen clips and seeing what I'm about, kind of thing, and he was just highly praising me and basically telling me where I could fit and how he wanted to play, etc. And it just suited me perfect about the high press, pressing as a team, and the way he is likes players as a person, being aggressive and tough, and I think I just fitted perfect to what he wanted. It did work. Obviously, me and Matty Godden scored a lot of goals in that first season, and I think we were hard to play against because of our work rate and the way we pressed together. So yeah, it's I think just having the conversation with him, it kind of straight away convinced me that I would fit in perfect.
And of course, touching on Matty Godden there as that strike partnership that the pair of you sort of formed was a very formidable partnership, really, in terms of you both worked your way up from non-league, and you were both really sort of able to complement each other in terms of your styles.
Yeah, I think that's it. I think obviously I'm more of a, I'd say I'm probably more defensive forward, as in I'm always tracking back, etc. And Matty's obviously great finisher, and his all round game is he's really football smart, as in he's got it up there a lot quicker than other people, and his game knowledge is really good. So it makes it a lot easier. And when you've got someone like that talking to you and helping you along, obviously my first season as a professional, like he was brilliant with me. To be fair, he helped me. There was no bitterness, as in, oh, it's another striker. It was literally help. We all help each other. We all win. And at the same time as me and Matty, we also had Tom Pett behind us, which I think we all complemented each other in that sense as well. So it was kind of like the perfect mix for us to score goals. And I think it worked really well.
And of course, your debut against Newport as well. You couldn't have wished for a better debut. Scoring on your debut as well, perfect.
Yeah, I think that was my only shot of the game as well. It was, I remember it just being red hot, and it was the first game of the season is always just a bit mad, and everyone's just trying to get their match fitness still, because it's obviously the first game is more competitive, and it's you can play as much as you want in pre-season, but you're always going to be a bit tired the first game of the season. But yeah, I just remember obviously someone had a shot and it just fell perfectly for me to hit it in the bottom corner.
And then from that, you were able to go on, and actually the first 4 games you were very prolific. In fact, I think you scored 3 in the first 4, and to come into the league, that was I'm sure for you that was to make that kind of impression was massive.
Yeah, I think it's one of them. Obviously, I came off the back of scoring a lot of goals the season before, and I think you just, as a striker, once you've got that confidence, you're going out there knowing that if you get a chance, you're going to put it away. And even I think the second game was Colchester, and I think I didn't have many shots that game. It was just one of them games. It was really tight, and I think I had one shot or one chance and I stuck it away.
Yeah.
And then the same again the next. And I think that just gave me the belief I could do it, kind of thing. And I just kicked on from there. And like I say, confidence in a striker is confidence in football is massive, but in a striker, it's everything really, because that's what puts the ball in the back of the net.
And of course, the next thing I want to touch on is, you said about your confidence there. It was certainly a real good season in terms of, goal scoring, and that kind of, set you up nicely for the FA Cup run as well. And then that game against Swindon, where of course you scored the brace, but one of those goals in particular, wow, I think it was the second goal you scored. I can't remember exactly, but you just ran the whole length of the pitch and just buried it. It was a lovely finish.
Yeah. That was the second goal. I remember it. To be fair, it's probably the best goal I've scored. Just as in, for me, the importance of the game. Like everyone loves the FA Cup, to get us through to the third round, and just how it came about, kind of thing. It just felt. Sorry, I don't know. My AirPods just turned off there. Yeah. It was just one of them. It was just I felt confident at the time. I felt fit. I felt strong, and then I just went for it, kind of thing. I felt like I could run all day, really. But it was just a nice goal. Nice goal.
And that was a lovely goal to witness as well. There's plenty of goals that we've seen as Stevenage fans, but that's one that really does stick in the mind and stick in the memory. The fact that we were so dominant against Swindon as well, and then we went on and we were able to go on and get was it Reading in the next round after that as well, and actually we gave them a good goal as well.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think we should have beat them at home. We had the best chances. We were in their face. It was one of them. We just couldn't get. I think their keeper had a really good game, to be fair. But I remember we played really well and probably should have beat them. And then the away game was just, I think it was a bit too much. Like fitness wise, the pitch was massive, and I think you can just tell the difference in fitness, and they're obviously at home, their quality and stuff like that. It kind of came out then. But yeah, I think we gave them a really good game at home to get the replay. Obviously, it's good for the club. But we probably should have won.
Yeah, I think when you look at that, I think we did miss a trick in the home game. And then going to Reading, going to a championship stadium, at their ground, it's always a hard place to go, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It was tough, to be fair. It was a tough night. Their lad scored a hat trick as well. Look, everything went in, kind of thing. So it was just one of them games.
And then, of course, you also played alongside the gaffer Alex Revell as well. And what was he like, sort of as a player, and even as a manager as well? Of course, you were under his leadership for a little while, up until the end of last season.
Yeah, obviously, I played with him and I roomed with him, and we were really close, as in off the pitch as well as on it. And on the pitch, he was a dream to play with, because he was just similar to me, as in hard working, honest, wants to put himself out, we seem to complement each other in my first season. And then I think obviously that second season I got injured into the start, and obviously had my son quite early as well, which kind of put me back a bit as well. It was just one of them. I think everything, I was just trying to play catch up the whole time and never got into my stride, kind of thing. So I probably didn't play with him very much after that. But yeah, it was a dream to play with him. And then obviously he became a manager, and he took them values as a player into management: honest, hardworking, wants the best for everyone and himself. Obviously, he wants the best for everyone, so everyone wants the best for him, kind of thing. So that's how I'd sum it up, really.
And of course, we touched on the gaffer there, but Ronnie was captain as well. And I've heard plenty of stories about Ronnie's leadership qualities. But what was he like for you, sort of personally, to work under him?
He's honestly, he's probably the best captain I've ever been around. As in, just no matter what's going on, what the mood is, like if you've just lost or whatever it is, he will get the lads going again, and he'll keep the place going. And he's just so good with the lads and the young lads, and he's like the ultimate professional. To see him play the record amount of times for Stevenage just sums that up. And to be honest, I think he could have played another few more years like professionally. He was just 7 out of 10 every game, no matter what.
Yeah.
And just like the ultimate professional. But he's one of the best blokes I've met in football. Just how he is as a person.
You did play in his testimonial as well, didn't you? I believe.
I think I didn't play. No, I didn't manage to play because I was.
Well, you injured at that time.
I was coming back still. I was trying to get back from my injury, and that nightmare of a year.
Yeah, we'll touch on that in a moment. But of course, the second season at the club, was another good season. To start off the season anyway. Scoring against Macclesfield and Notts County as well, and then that was with Scott Cuthbert. And we touched on Ronnie's leadership, but we've got to touch on Scotty's leadership as well and his qualities that he's got.
Yeah, I've been lucky, to be fair. I've had Ronnie and Scotty, and I've had two great captains, to be honest, since being at Stevenage. Scotty's again ultimate professional, hardworking, honest, strong. But he makes sure the place is a good place to work, kind of thing, and make sure everyone's looked after. So I couldn't have asked for a better captain. In Scotty as well to take over from Ronnie, so it's I was lucky in that sense. I'm really close with Scotty off the pitch as well, so it's I can't really say anything else. It's he's still there now. Do you know what I mean? He's still going, and he's still solid defender in League Two. That, do you know what I mean? He's invaluable.
And that's the end of last season as well. That was a fantastic end of the season, which we'll touch on a bit more in a little while. But we had that fantastic defensive record, and that was with that back four. It was Luther, and then we had the central pairing of TVC and of Scotty, and then Cokes playing at left back, and that was sort of integral, really, wasn't it, in terms of going on that unbeaten run. And really just pushing as high up the table as we were able to do in the end.
Yeah. Like if you don't let any goals, you can't lose. So to them, it's the amount of clean sheets was unbelievable. That comes from, like I say, we've got Coke's experience, Scotty experience, Luther's now played a lot of games, TVC's played a lot of games, and all of them I think had a unbelievable year last year. They were all spot on every game. And as a team, you got that confidence. I think having Jamie in goal as well, which would have given them even more confidence. So it was just, it was a good mix of having the best and obviously had Pross as well, who could come in and was solid.
That's right. I was going to say that as well, because obviously there was, that they knew that they had to perform. Sorry, because actually, if they weren't performing, there was the likes of Pross and Ross Marshall and Joe Martin and Romeo that would all come in and challenge.
That's it. That's what I mean. Every player that played, I think last year, that comes down to knowing their jobs as well, and they were given, they were coached basically to how to play, and everyone knew exactly how they had to play, and obviously they've got the ability, and they did perform week in, week out, which is a hard thing to do, but they managed to do it. And like you say, everyone who came in also did the same, so it was pushing them for places. So every defender last year was spot on.
It was the same. It wasn't just the defence though, it was throughout. It was if Jamie was injured, then I think David Stockdale coming on loan, didn't he? And he had a few games where he really shone. In particular, there was that one where he saved the penalty. I think it was his last game before he went back to Wickham. And then up front, obviously there was you and Listy and Noz and it all over the pitch. There was just real quality and strength in depth.
Yeah, I think the group we had last year is probably one of the best I've been in football, as in togetherness, and that comes from above kind of thing. So it was a complete change from obviously the year that we struggled. We had a lot of players, so you couldn't really get that closeness, and it was tough in that sense. But last year was just the group we had was close knit and everyone pulling in the same direction. And like I say, the strikers worked. Obviously, we didn't score enough last year. It was frustrating in that sense, but
yeah,
we did work really hard on keeping the ball out of the net, and everyone was back on corners, and everyone's trying to keep the ball out of the net first and foremost, and then we don't lose games. Do you know what I mean? And if we can win the game, even better.
absolutely. And then we'll go back to a couple of seasons before that, and there was plenty of times where big moments that you scored. Colchester away being one where you scored the what turned out to be the winner in the 2-1 win, and I believe that was the day when the coach ended up breaking down as well beforehand.
Yeah, that was a bit of a mad day. The coach, we were about an hour away. I think no, we had pre-match. I think we were at pre-match, which was an hour away. So we had the pre-match, got on the coach literally within 5 minutes. Couldn't move. We were just stuck in the middle of a roundabout, and we ended up getting taxis to the game, and obviously ended up playing really well and winning. But it was just it was a bit of a mad day. But I like that goal, to be fair, just because I remember tackling someone in my own half again and going up the other end and scoring. So it was nice to it was a nice feeling.
I think Colchester's goal that day was actually scored by Pross, if I believe correctly, as well.
I can't remember. I
think it was. I'm sure he'll probably, if and when I see him tomorrow, he'll probably sort of say, "Yeah, it was me." Like, yeah. But no, of course, in that time, there was Ilias Chair, another fantastic player that you played with as well, and he was, just really, really talented, and you can see, what he's doing now, even at QPR, and even internationally as well, getting into the setup there.
Yeah, I think obviously it speaks for itself. Do you know what I mean? And I think he's got teams looking at him from even higher, so it speaks for itself. He's fans seeing what he did when he played for the club. Unfortunately, I didn't get to play that much with him because that was obviously the season I had the bad injury, and I was again bit part, so it was frustrating in that sense. But you seen the chances he created, the goals he scored. He's obviously destined for bigger things, but he. I'm sure the fans will remember him for a long time as well.
There's some cracking games in there. I think it was what was it? We were away? Who were we away to? I think it was we were 2-0 down, and he just tore that game to shreds. He was like
Lincoln.
That's right. Yeah, Lincoln away, and he got the 2, and then I think he could have had probably 5 on that day.
Yeah.
So that's just what he was about. That's the kind of guy that he is, and the kind of quality that he's got. But so of course in that season, of course we touched on it there, but it was a season that was very much sort of ravaged a little bit by having injury as well there, and a bad injury that it was. And how difficult or sort of challenging was that to know that you're spending more time on the treatment sort of side of things rather than actually out there and being able to help the boys?
I think that's the worst part about it, is going to a game and watching the game knowing you're not involved and you can't affect it, and you're not even close to being back to being around the lads and being involved. It's soul destroying at the time, and it seems like the longest road ever. But the frustrating thing was, I got the injury. I never had a muscle injury at Stevenage in the entire time, which was strange, as in I was out so long, but it was literally just one impact injury from a tackle, and torn the cartilage in my ankle, which it took a long while to find, kind of thing. So I had all this treatment. And it just wasn't picked up, kind of thing. So I ended up doing rehab and etc. Coming back thinking I was fixed and realizing it wasn't. So it was like, again, I've got to go again and go through all the rehab, go through all the testing, and find out what's actually going on. So it knocked me back in that sense. It took me away from playing regularly and knocked my confidence. So frustrating times, but like I say, you just got to keep going, keep getting one step at a time. And now, to be fair, it's the best I've felt in a long time. So,
and that's great that you've healed and you're recovering really well, and now you've just got that move to Solihull as well, which we'll touch on in a little while. But it's good that that you're sort of able to get back out there and do what you love doing and playing games again. Yeah,
that's it. I just want to play and enjoy it, really. Just enjoy being back in the swing of things, feeling good again. It took me probably last season. I the first 20. Obviously, COVID happened when I was actually fit. Got myself back. COVID happened. Cancelled the season. I was like, right. So then it's now basically a full year without even kicking a ball. Came back last season without pre-season as well because I signed quite late as well. So I was just a bit like playing catch up again. And then I just remember getting probably 10 or 15 games into the season. So then I started to end up feeling like myself again, started to play better, started to feel better in myself. So it was just one of them. It took me too long to play catch up, and I was always playing catch up until probably the middle of the season. And then obviously I got another injury towards the end of the season, which is frustrating as I was just starting to feel good. But yeah, it's part of football. It is what it is. But I'm just, like I say, looking forward to the fresh challenge now and hopefully putting all these injuries behind me and playing regularly.
Yeah, and that's what we all say. You know, we were there was a lot of us at the Meet the Manager event on Tuesday night, and you know we were talking obviously about your move because I think might have even been Monday or Tuesday that it actually was confirmed and went through. And you know, the bulk of what everyone was saying was just wishing you well really and hoping that this is this is the time you can stay injury free and really push on and get yourself some goals and kick on now as a striker and as a player. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate like all the messages I've had. To be fair, since signing, like I was overwhelmed really. Like the fans have always been brilliant with me. Obviously, Stevenage from day one. But I don't know if that's down to like I did always give everything for the club. Like that's me as a person. So
100%.
No matter where I am.
Yeah, we noticed that. Whether we're in the East Terrace, the main stand, wherever. We all noticed that, and even last season, watching online, and doing it virtually, having to watch virtually and not be at the ground, it was still there, and we were still able to recognise that. And yeah, 100%. We're all very, very grateful for all of your efforts throughout the time that you spent with the club.
No, I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. To be fair, all the fans. I said thank you, obviously on Twitter, but yeah, I do. Yeah. I thank everyone for the support for the last few years. Yeah, it's been brilliant. Yeah, and I just want to say I appreciate it. Yeah.
And of course, the last season, it was very difficult with the COVID situation as well, and we touched on it there. Originally, you hadn't actually signed with the club. I think you were released with the club the season before, released by the club, and then given that opportunity to come back and sort of train with the club and get yourself sort of ready and see whether you can go again. And how grateful to Stevenage were you to kind of get that opportunity to sort of showcase what you're about again and train with them and just get back involved again and be given that chance by Alex and by the backroom staff.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like the club's been brilliant. From when I signed, the club's been brilliant. Even to when I've left, the club's been brilliant to me as well. It's like all the messages, and I know a lot of great people there. But yeah, in the summer I was just kind of trying to get as fit as possible, trying to stay fit, and it was one of them. I obviously had a tough time the year before COVID happened. I was just a bit like, no one knew what the world was going to do, kind of thing. So it was just a bit like, what is going to happen? Like no one knows. But yeah, the manager obviously ringing me, keeping me in the loop what was happening, and then I obviously wanted me back to. He said, come in, train, work hard, and obviously get you back playing, kind of thing. And I did do that. It was a lot slower than I anticipated. I don't think I realised how much muscle you'd lose. Like you can do as much fitness as possible, but obviously the gyms were short and stuff like that. So it's trying to build up all the muscle without no gyms, and it was
Zoom sessions and whatever else. I'm sure, no doubt, plenty of
Yeah, it was tough. It was just everything was just home based, and you just trying to stay as fit as possible. But yeah, it was good to get back into the swing of things, and to be honest, having such a good group made it such an enjoyable year for I think everyone who played there last year would have enjoyed it. It was a tough start, but we came good in the end, and everyone was really positive, and I think there's a lot of positivity going into this season, and I'm sure there'll be some success. Some coming soon.
Absolutely, and it's touching on the start there as well. Last season we started away at Borough. This time we start at home to Borough, so it's kind of a little bit it's just swings and roundabouts, isn't it? It's funny how it all works out in football.
Yeah, that's it. It's mad. It's a mad game, but yeah, that's why everyone loves it. But yeah, I do. I said it before, and I do think Stephen will have a really good season. The manager, Dean, Mark, all the backroom staff, like everything has been put in place and built from last year. I think kept the core of the squad. Some of our best players, obviously Obviously, Terence has just signed a new deal as well, which is massive for the club. Yeah, I do really think you're going to have a good go this year.
And I think it's going to be so much excitement tomorrow going to the Lamex and getting the fans back in there. Alex said it in his interview, sort of hearing the drum, and they've got the appreciation for the care line and whatever tomorrow as well. So it's just going to be a very special day. It's going to be one of those days. The first game of the season is always special anyway, but tomorrow's going to be even more so.
Yeah, that's. I think if you asked every footballer about having fans back, like everyone wants, like that's why you play. Last year was tough. Some of the games we played were just. You need an atmosphere to not get you up for the games. Like you obviously give everything, but that if you're, for instance, myself, if I'm chasing a ball down in the corner and it spills and the fans are roaring you on, it gives you that little boost to go a bit more and a bit more. It's just the adrenaline it gives you and stuff like that is you can't beat it. So yeah, I think everyone will be delighted to be back. Obviously the fans will be back and the players will be just as delighted.
Absolutely. And of course with the sort of COVID pandemic there as well, and having no fans in, what was that like? Just as an experience, having to going to all those games behind closed doors.
Yeah, it was strange. It wasn't as enjoyable, to be fair. Like a match day wasn't as enjoyable as in there's no fans, there's no one to like. The atmosphere is just obviously nothing because of and you can hear everything. You can hear every little thing on the side. Like whereas sometimes it's for me, I kind of.
I think to be honest, with Dean Wilkins, with the. Well, sorry, mate. What I was going to say, I think with Dean Wilkins, even with the crowd, you'll hear everything that he's got to say. But
that's it. But it's just. But you can literally hear everything. You can hear any instruction is. Whereas sometimes you won't hear an instruction, and it might be in your favour kind of thing to not because you take it literally kind of thing. So it's to play naturally. It's because you can't hear because of the fans, and the fans are giving you a boost. And yeah, it's just a strange thing to play without any fans. But I hope we never have to do it again.
Absolutely, and of course, last season we had so many good moments. The double over Cambridge and your last-minute winner against Tranmere, the FA Cup run. I'm sure that in all of those games, you would have been made so much better to have the fans there and just to enjoy those moments with you as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Like it makes it a lot more special, doesn't it? Like obviously the FA Cup was massive. Like Hull were obviously the best team in the league above. We're obviously not on a great run at the time, and for us to beat them, and especially the way we did it on penalties, Jamie saving the penalty and stuff like it. The fans were there. Do you know what I mean? It amplifies it by however much, but it was an obviously amazing night, but it could have been 10 times better, if not more. But yeah,
the game against Tranmere as well was when you scored that last-minute winner against Tranmere. That would have been, what away days with Stevenage fans are like anyway. The scenes in that away end would have been mad. So yeah.
That's it. Yeah, I do. I genuinely think I think some players do thrive off playing in front of fans. Like it's not. It's. I think I do personally myself. I think I seem to perform better when I've got people cheering me on or people giving me a bit of stick. Like just having an atmosphere to play in front of. I think does give players a boost. Maybe some players play better without them, but I'm sure they all want them there, kind of thing. So it's. Yeah, it'll be exciting to have them back this season.
And of course, there's plenty of other games. The Port Vale game stands out as well from last season. Even from years back, we've not even touched on Luton yet as well. When you scored the last gasp equaliser against Luton, and in fact, we nearly won it, didn't we, as well that day with Kenners? And obviously, we played Luton in the League Cup on Tuesday as well.
Yeah, yeah, the Port Vale game last year. Yeah, that was I think that was my first league goal, to be fair, last year. So it was like a bit of a weight off my shoulders at the time, and obviously we were struggling at the time as well. We desperately needed that win.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was nice to. Nice. I could have had another. To be fair, I thought the ref blew his whistle when I went through, but yeah, it was. We played really well. To be fair, we should have probably put more past them. But yeah, the Luton goal as well. That was one of my favourite. Not as in obviously it was just a header, but yeah, just the atmosphere at the time and all the celebrating in front of the fans. Yeah, it was brilliant.
And I'm sure that gives you, that extra adrenaline, that extra bit of a buzz as well, because Luton bring a good attendance. I think there was probably 4,500, 5,000 there that day.
Yeah, obviously it's a local rivalry, isn't it? But I think there's nothing better than making people happy. Do you know what I mean? And scoring a goal to get the point. Obviously they were doing well at the time as well, so it's kind of to make all the fans happy and go home on that Saturday night buzzing, and yeah, there's no better feeling.
And I'll tell you what, another game where there was no better feeling was last season again. Forest Green at home, the Tuesday night when you scored. I think you scored a brace, and I think Forest Green. I think if they won, they would have gone top of the table at that time, and that was probably one of the performances of last season for me.
Yeah, I'd say. Well, it's probably my best performance personally, but I'd say as a team, we were unbelievable. I think everyone was on it. There wasn't one bad performance. The way we pressed as a team, the way we defended as a team, everything was just, we got everything spot on. Yeah, and we tore them apart. We did tear them apart. And I think, to be fair, after they lost to us, we started their little downward run, and I think they struggled after that. But because of how well we played against them, I think we shocked them. But yeah, that was one of my most enjoyable games last year, to be fair, just because of, obviously I scored 2 goals, but even if I hadn't scored, it was just the way we played. It was just enjoyable.
And that was quite an interesting little side story behind that as well. Obviously, the vegans against Burger King.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it.
But no, it was obviously that deal for the club as well. The Burger King deal, massive deal, wasn't it as well?
Yeah, it. Just shows that what the club's doing. I think everything's going right in the right direction on the pitch, but that is also happening off the pitch. So yeah, the club's in a great place at the minute, I think, and I think they're in a lot better position than a lot of other clubs. So yeah, it's positive for the club. Obviously, they've just got the new sponsorship as well, which is another massive one. So yeah. Obviously, whatever's happening behind the scenes is obviously the right thing.
And of course, that's, when you look at it, it is very much a good, championship standard league club, really. When you look at the facilities and the ground, you look at the training ground, the new 76 bar, everything about the club, has that kind of potential, and that that would not look out of place in the championship at all.
No, that's it. There's, like you say, it's not impossible as well. Like, it's not that far away. You keep a good team and keep the core of everything and get everything to click. It's one of them. You go on a run and get promoted, take it into the next. Look at Wickham, for instance. They've obviously gone and played in the Championship last year, and they did nearly stay up in the end because they found their feet eventually, and it's not far away. Do you know what I mean? And obviously the club's put all the infrastructure in, and everything's in place, and like you say, the training ground, etc., is one of the best, if not the best, in League Two. So it's everything's in place for the club to do well. So hopefully, not too far away, there'll be a success story.
And of course, we'll start to wrap it up in a moment. But I've got to touch on, obviously, coming through the Jamie Vardy Academy as well. That, taking it back to the younger days throughout, your time in the game as well. And what did you sort of learn from being involved in that?
It was a bit mad, to be fair. It was obviously I was playing for Tamworth at the time, and they came to watch. A scout from V9. I didn't know they were there, but I seen some cameras at the ground and stuff. I was like, weren't really sure what was going on. Never usually have cameras for the level we were at. And they were watching, I think, 3 or 4 of their players. The team we were playing, they were full time. They're paying out loads of money. Had all these players that were supposed to be going higher, etc., etc. And I ended up playing really well. Scored the winner. Didn't think anything of it. Just went home Saturday night, normal Saturday night, and then got a message on Twitter, just basically from their account saying, "Oh, put your application in." And I wasn't really sure what it was. Work on the Monday morning, I ended up sitting on my computer for 10 minutes and having a look, and thought, why not, kind of thing. 25 years old, why not? It looks good. So I've got nothing to lose, kind of thing. And just went from there, really. Ended up going to the.
Did Jamie work quite closely with everyone, sort of individually as well? Would you see, would he come down and would you sort of, get a lot of tips and advice from Jamie as well?
No, he didn't work closely in that sense. He was obviously set the academy up, and he met everyone on it and spoke to them and had chats and stuff. But it was more so like they'd hired. So we obviously stayed at the Etihad, where Manchester City train, and basically lived like a professional for that week, just to basically give you a taste of what it could be like, kind of thing. Which was obviously an unbelievable experience. And he was there that week, like popping around, saying hello, playing games of pool against people, and but we had actual coaches for the week. We were split into groups. I think it was groups of 15, 14, 15, and we had our own 3 coaches, like they were your manager and assistant, and for that week. So so it was like a proper. So basically, you had like your professional setup for that week, kind of thing, and then just played a couple of games in front of scouts during the week. And then obviously got picked up from there by Stevenage. I think Leon was there watching, and I scored the winner in that game as well, and put myself about, and obviously went from there.
And of course, I've got just a couple more questions, really. But of course, last season we touched on with your partnership with Elliot List and Luke Norris. But Elliot List in particular, he had a really good goal scoring season last season. I think that's his best in the Football League. And now when you look at the Stevenage team there, he's going to go on. He's going to be up there again. I could see him maybe going on and challenging for the Golden Boot in the league this year.
Yeah, I think
top scorer in the league this year.
Yeah, I think obviously he's a great age, Listy, and his pace is, you know what I mean. He's probably one of the fastest in the league, if not the League One champion. I don't know, but he's one of the fastest players about, which is only going to help him. And like you say, last season he had a really good goal scoring season, but obviously he was moved up front halfway through the season as well. So if he's playing up there for a full season, who knows? If he's not out wide or whatever, but he's obviously going to chip him with a lot more goals playing up there. And he was brilliant last year. He picked it up quite quickly as well about the pressing, and he was good to work with.
And then, so just a couple more, really. We touched on, obviously, with the pandemic as well, when what the club were doing in the local area in terms of getting involved in all of that and keeping connected. That was, fantastic, wasn't it? I think Stevenage were the first club to go out and do that.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's just shows what a good club it is to think about people in the area, and obviously people who are vulnerable and not able to maybe go to the shops and whatever. But it shows what the club's about, and it's I think it's just highlighted to the rest of the country what a good club it is, and showed that they care about people, kind of thing.
And on the back of the previous season ending in the way that it did, and not knowing what league we were going to be in, etc., it was just a good way of getting everyone together and getting everyone on the same wavelength and on the same page again.
Yeah, I think obviously the season before was just it was just a horrendous season. Obviously, everyone knows from being at the club, watching the games. It was just one of them seasons. It was horrendous for everyone involved, and it was, no matter what happened, what changed, it was just nothing would go right. It's just, I think, like you say, it's it was probably a bad year for the club in that sense. Like fans disappointed, fans frustrated, and what better way to obviously bring everyone back together again? Like you say, it's just to show the club what the club is actually about. And I think on the pitch last year, it kind of repaired that from the year before, like showing what a together group we had and everyone working together for each other. And obviously, we ended up finishing higher than obviously the year before, but higher than what people probably expected. And I think going into this year,
going up to the Salford game, we were only 2 points off the playoffs, I believe, something like that as well.
Yeah, that's it. It's we were still in with a chance. To be fair, like the last few games, we still had a chance. So it was like I say, I think go better this year and get in the playoffs or automatics. I think everything's there for the club now to go and do that, and hopefully it happens.
And of course, we've got a question from Russ as well. He put in just a question in the private section in the chat here as well, just sort of saying, have you always played as a striker? Have you always, been a centre forward?
I actually started off as a kid. I started off at left back, and then got moved forward because I was quite attacking. Got moved forwards. I was playing left wing, and then I only started playing as a striker from probably 16, 17.
Okay.
I was scoring a lot of goals from left wing, and they ended up putting me up front, and I was like a duck to water kind of thing. So just went from there. Really ended up playing up front, and I played a few positions for Stevenage just to obviously help the team out, whatever. But
I think you played left wing a couple of times, sort of left mid. Yeah,
I've played left wing back, right wing back, centre mid, everywhere. The only place is not a centre back, I think, or in goal. But
just a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I say, I think people know me as a team player, and I will do what the team requires, kind of thing. It's not about me at the end of the day. Obviously, I love to score goals, but if the team wins and I'm playing out of position, like it's even better.
All right, so we're on to the last probably two questions now. And we touched on it earlier. So you've just signed for Solihull Moors in the Conference Prem or National League, and obviously we said you're feeling good, you're raring to go, you're fit and ready. How much are you looking forward to that challenge?
I'm excited. Obviously, it's dropping down the league, but for me, it's just about playing regularly and hopefully scoring regularly and finding that basically everything just clicking again. And I think last year was just basically getting myself back playing and getting into the swing of things. And I did that. I did do that until obviously I got the little knock towards the end of the season that kept me out for a few more games. But I got back into the swing of things, and I feel good going into the season. I'm getting some pre-season in. Everything's there as well. Like the infrastructure at Solihull has blown me away, kind of thing. That the training ground's amazing for that league as well. Like it's probably one of the best, and wouldn't look out of place in the football league. So everything's there. The sports science has been brilliant. And it seems from what the manager's saying, I feel like I'm going to enjoy playing the way they play as well. So I'm excited for the season.
Experienced manager as well, isn't it? Neil Ardley that's there, who of course everyone knows from his time at Wimbledon and Watford playing, and I think was he at Notts County as a manager as well, I believe.
Yeah, he's I think he's done quite well everywhere he's been, so it's positive, and just from being around the place, it seems like a good environment already. So all the lads are good, and it's we've got some good players as well. So I'm positive, and hopefully we can either get in the playoffs or maybe even go one better. But I'm excited to see what this season brings.
And of course, you're linking up with somebody else that you know from playing at Stevenage as well, which is James Ball. And James Ball is at Solihull at the moment. He's playing there as well, and you're looking forward to getting involved. Obviously, playing pre-season tomorrow, your first friendly, and then playing alongside the likes of James again. And then, of course, starting up the new league season, of course, for Solihull next week as well.
I've not trained with him yet, or this season. He's just recovering from a little injury, but yeah, he's obviously he wasn't at Stevenage long, but I remember playing up front with him actually a couple of games, and he ended up scoring a few. So we seem to work quite well together. So yeah, it's good to link up with him again. Hopefully it's a successful season for us both. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for that, Danny. We'll wrap it up there, mate. But yeah, appreciate your time, and as I said earlier, thank you very much for all of your efforts at Stevenage in your time here, and just all the best with Solihull, and hopefully a fantastic season for yourself and for the club as well coming up this campaign.
Oh, thank you. No, I appreciate that. Thanks very much.
Cheers. Thanks, Dan. Thanks a lot, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, mate.
Bye bye.